Was Jesus a channel?
No.
Because he spoke to God. Didn't he have to be a channel to speak?
It's an interesting dynamic. Everybody in their own way develops, people that do this kind of work, they develop their communication in a very, sometimes very different ways. And we would suggest to you that the energy that was Jesus was in a dynamic of a communication with the divine, but it wasn't, it was mostly through a dynamic of inspiration. You know how we can go on in a certain dynamic with a certain rant and come out with a many-leveled, multi-dimensional dynamic that leads to levels of understanding that are, deeper than the normal, simply because we have the picture of the holistic dynamic and understand the holistic dynamic and can take the time and energy necessary to prevent that to you in the time of Jesus, 2,400 years ago or so, there was a very similar energetic dynamic where people had the time and the space and the energy to be able to communicate more with both the inner and the outer realms in that sort of way. And because there was not the distraction of all of the electronics and all of the other things, there was a lot more woo-woo in your world and manifested woo-woo because of the wide variety of collective beliefs. And so it required what shall we say, a much less dense dynamic of belief to create, what shall we say, energetic dynamics, energetic flows, energetic responses from the consensus reality. So we would say that the energy that was represented as Jesus was one that had a basic, constant conversation going on the inner, but was never the energy that was Jesus never tried to directly, what shall we say that they were actually giving, they were giving the word of God, but they were giving it through their own interpretation. You understand? It's not like that God was talking directly through them, like we are talking directly through the channel. So there was always that dynamic of that interpretation because there had to be a translation of the dynamics of the gestalts of information. You've had gestalts of information. All of a sudden, it seems like you're downloaded with something, and then you've got to figure out what the fuck just happened, and how to stretch it out. Because if you wanted to tell anybody else, you have to take that energetic, that emotional dynamic, and you have to translate it into words in order to be able to communicate it with someone else. Well, that changes because it's going through your filter. That changes the dynamic of the energy. It can, if you are not completely clear.